Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my next headphones. And yes, I know I just made a video asking you guys for advice in the comment down below which headphones I should get next. However, I didn't really get any responses to that video, mainly because, people didn't really see it. I got one comment saying the Ananda Nano, which is fair because it's around $400. And from what I've heard, the detail was really good on that, and it's decently bright and all that. In fact, a lot of Hifiman headphones are. However, I still am pretty hesitant to get Hifiman headphones in general because of their QC. I mean, I've had the Sundara for a while now, but that has a channel imbalance issue, so I kind of don't want to take the Hifiman QC lottery again to try to get a good pair. So again, that's why I'm very hesitant to get any new Hifiman headphones or even old ones. So again, that's why I'm probably steering clear of Hifiman headphones. But what headphones have I decided to actually get? And I say headphones because I'm still deciding between these two: the Audio Technica R50X or the Audio Technica R70XA. I know, from the same brand. And I know I also said last video, those weren't really on my radar. I was more considering the the HD505 from Sennheiser. However, after reconsidering it and realizing that the 505 is basically just a slight upgrade to the HD560S, and I already have the 560S, and I'm already decently happy with the HD560S, then I don't really see that big of a reason to get the 505, even if it is better in basically every way. Because from what I've heard, it's just better, and that's about it. It's not like a huge fucking improvement, which is kind of what I want. Or at least I want something different than the HD505 or the HD560S, or just generally like a Sennheiser sound, but still want it to be sort of neutral. I know it's me being very picky, but again, I just want something that's a little different from the usual Sennheiser sound, I think, because I've just been so used to Sennheiser for a while. And that's why I'm probably going to get an Audio Technica headphone. And I know what I said last video, and I still am a little hesitant because, the build quality and all that. However, build quality, it's probably the third most important thing to me in terms of headphones, but it's not the most important thing to me. Of course, sound is the most important thing, but second is probably comfort. And I've heard that, comfort varies. Of course it does, but I've heard it's also pretty decently comfortable. My ears are not super big, so I think they'll be able to fit in the cups, even though I said last video, oh, they're small. I don't think they'll be able to fit. After looking at the headphone a little more, they probably will. I'm probably being a little facetious and a little paranoid when it comes to that. However, I've heard the biggest draw of these two headphones is just the sound and the technical performance of them. I've heard the detail retrieval is even better than the HD505. Even the R50X, which is only $160, is better at detail retrieval than the HD505, which again is a huge priority to me. I want something that can pick out all of the details in my music pretty clearly, very clearly. I don't want it to feel like there's a fucking blanket on top of one instrument or all the instruments. I don't want that shit. I want everything to be pretty crystal clear, or at least as much as possible, which is again why I'm focusing so hard on detail, because I'm just a very detail oriented person when it comes to music. So again, that's why I've kind of just decided between these two headphones. I've heard the R70XA is actually a little less comfortable than the R50X. I know I said the comfort is probably something I'm being a little paranoid about. However, I've heard for the most part from almost everybody that the R70XA is actually a little worse in terms of comfort than the original R70X, which of course I do not have. And even the R50X, because there's no padding on the top, and it's just, a little head strap, or not a little head strap, but, just a pretty simple head strap on the top. And from what I've heard, it's not that comfortable. However, I've had the HD560S, and I have a few gripes when it comes to the comfort on that as well. I'm not the biggest fan of the padding on the top. It doesn't really bother me, but I'm not the biggest fan, and I really don't like the clamping force on it even now. And again, I've heard the HD505 is mostly fixed that, and that's good. But again, I still am not probably going to get the HD505 because, again, it's not really that big of an upgrade over the HD560S, so why get it? And it's $280 right now. So if I were to get it, I would just wait for it to go on sale, which will most likely take a little bit. So again, at this point, I'm just deciding between these two headphones. And now this is where I ask you guys to come into play again, just to basically help me narrow down my search even more and just decide on a headphone to actually get. Because from what I've heard, the HG5, or not the HG5, the R50X is basically a more bright slash neutral sounding headphone, which is what I've wanted. Like what I want from a headphone for a while now, because again, I have the HD560S and I love the sound on that. However, I've heard that the detail retrieval is just ever so slightly better on the R70XA, but it's a little U-shaped a tad bit. It's not like that much, but it is. But again, like I said last video, even then, that's not that big of a deal for me because I can just EQ the bass down anyway, and I would most likely have to do that anyway because again, every single headphone I buy sounds really, really bassy to me because my ears are just sensitive to bass. So yeah, that's just how it is, unfortunately. So again, even if I were to like A/B test the R50X or the R70X, I think, or the R70XA, I think the bass department wouldn't be that much of a difference to me personally. So again, that's not really a deciding factor. Again, I think the biggest deciding factor when it comes to like these two headphones is of course price, because the R70XA is basically double the price. But not only that, the R70XA, again, I've also heard it's even less comfortable than the R50X. So that's also another deciding factor. Another one is just, again, the sound. I've heard that the detail retrieval and the soundstage is just a little bit better on the R70XA. So that's one point where I'm leaning towards the R70XA a little bit more. But again, there's other factors. So again, just if you have these headphones, I know a lot of people don't, and it's a very new headphone, and I understand that. But for the few people that may have them, just give me your thoughts on one or the other. You don't have to have fucking both. Like you don't have to, and you don't have to if you don't want to. But again, if you want to, feel free to just comment down below what you think of rather the R70XA if you have it, or the R50XA, or the R50XA, the R50X. I know the names are kind of a mouthful, and I keep saying them, and I'm sorry. But again, just give me your thoughts on them if you have them. If you don't have them, I just kind of don't comment. I'm sorry, I know that's kind of rude, but I'm just mainly trying to decide on these two headphones at this point. Because again, I just want a headphone that is good and detail-oriented, that's pretty decently neutral, while still actually, having good tonality, it's basically just good across the board. Like, that's kind of what I want. That's a neutral headphone that sounds really good. That is basically it. That's what I'm searching for. But besides that, that is basically it, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.